Okay, so we're cleared from the tower. We're going to do a soft field takeoff. Main thing is we have our controls back. We don't want to stop moving. We're going to keep moving. We have our flaps down. We're going to take off a little sooner than normal. And we're going to stay in ground effect until we reach VY. And at VY, we're going to go ahead and we're going to rotate. And we'll just demonstrate that right now for you. So keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Going to kind of ride a wheelie down the middle of the runway. Keep on center line. Slowly apply the power. And as the wheel comes up, you're going to release a little bit of pressure. You don't want to do a tail wheel strike. So we are airborne now. And we're going to stay in ground effect with the full power in. Ride our ground effect until our speed picks up. And there we are, we're at VY. So now we're going to pitch for VY. And a positive rate of climb, so we're going to retract our flaps. And the main thing we did there was we kept the nose wheel off so it didn't dig into the soft surface. And we rode the wheelie down. We got airborne premature. We should not have been airborne at that point, but we used the ground effect to keep off the runway. Once we picked up the speed, then we were able to start our climb and climb out. Okay, and we are approaching 900 feet, 500 feet AGL. So we'll start our right-hand turn. Once again, staying coordinated. We've got some left turning tendencies, so we want to apply some right rudder, stepping on the ball on the turn coordinator. And downwind looks clear. And there we go, we'll continue our climb out. We're going to head over to the practice area and do some maneuvers today. Main ones I'd like to do are some different landings at Byron and some stalls, along with short field, soft field landings, power off 180s. If we have time, some of the commercial maneuvers, chandelles, and so on. And what we want to do when we climb out is we want to incorporate a cruise climb, which is not too much pitch up, but more of a slight pitch up because we have better visibility, can spot traffic easier, and we also get improved engine cooling because our airflow through the cowling is much better. And so what I've done is I've gotten flight following so that I have NorCal approach radar services, so they're watching me right now because it's just me and the plane, and I don't have an extra set of eyes here looking out for traffic, so I'm utilizing them for traffic watch. And so I think that's kind of a good policy. It's a little windy out here in the valley today. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do our steep turns. And our steep turns are going to be 2 concentric circles. Starting with the left, we'll do a 45-degree bank, complete our circle. And then start a turn to the right, complete that circle. 45 to 60-degree bank is our tolerance. And the key thing here is as we start to roll into the turn, the horizontal component of lift is going to kind of help us through our turn. And the vertical component of lift is going to decrease, so the plane's going to want to sink. So you use a little back elevator pressure, bump up the power a little bit, and that should hold your altitude through the turn. So it's really just the coordination of elevator in the turn to help you out there. So we're going to start our altitude here at 3,200, and we're going to use a point of reference. In our case, it's going to be Mount Diablo. So before we do any maneuvers, we're going to do some clearing turns, making sure we don't have any traffic around us. So a 90-degree turn in each direction. And a 90-degree turn first to the left. And then we're going to do a 90-degree turn to the right. Always looking for traffic. In VFR flying, 90% of your workload should be eyes outside, looking for potential traffic. Occasionally glancing down at your instruments to confirm, but you're using the outside reference, the horizon, as your attitude indicator to know what kind of attitude that you have. So once again, I'm going to use Mount Diablo as my reference, so I'm going to point the nose at Mount Diablo. I'm at 3,200. And my main goal here is not to lose any altitude in my turn. So okay, so facing Mount Diablo. And once again, I'm going to start my turn to the left. And bump up the power a little bit and start my turn. I want a 45-degree turn. And I'm ballooning up a little bit, so relax a little bit of elevator pressure. And once you get it kind of right in that sweet spot, you'll be pretty good. And here we go. Come out, bump that power out. Now we're going to immediately go right into the right turn. And we're descending a little bit, so want to even out that bank. There we go, now we're climbing, there we go. And get into that 45 degree. And we ballooned up a little bit, so we were descending in most of that turn. So there we go, and there's rollout on our heading. And we lost about 100 feet there. So immediately get back to your altitude, starting altitude. So those are our steep turns. Once again, the key there is losing your vertical component of the lift to horizontal when you start your bank. Okay, so we did those. Now we're going to proceed out, and I'm going to attempt a power off stall. I'm going to climb up to 3,500. And with a power off stall, the main things that we're looking for here is being able to control the airplane when you don't have a lot of airflow over the control surfaces. When you do that, the controls become mushy. And so it's really to instill in the student that this is what it feels like at low speeds. The power off stall is to simulate the approach to landing and maybe trying to stretch out the glide a little bit and ultimately stall the airplane at low altitude, which is very dangerous. So what we want to do is simulate that at altitude, so in case there was a problem, we have a lot of altitude to recover. And so what we're going to do here is get in landing configuration. We're in flap range now. We're going to get our power out. We're going to go full rich. We're going to do our clearing turns as well. So we're got 10 degrees of flaps in, and we're going to kind of slow the airplane down as we do our clearing turns, just to save some time. And clearing turn here to the right, and we'll go clearing turn to the left. And what we're going to do is we're going to fully stall the airplane. What's going to happen is pull back, pull back, pull back until we lose our smooth airflow over the wings. And the nose is going to pitch down. Pitch down. The plane is very stable. It's used to recovering on its own essentially. But what we'll do is we'll allow the nose to pitch down slightly to regain our flying characteristics, and then we'll apply power. Applying that power then will keep us from losing too much altitude. So, did our clearing turns. Like I said, we're slowing down. Slow down. We get our power out. We're going full rich. We're going to get 20 degrees flaps now. And you should be able to hear the stall horn. We're going to take it all the way down. We got down to 30 degrees flaps. And here we go. And we're going to establish a down pitch like we are going to land. Maybe just go down about 100 feet. And slowly, slowly, slowly start to ease back. And you hear the stall horn. And the brake. And full power. And back to altitude. So we pulled back. We had the stall warning horn. And then we had the brake. We had a slight dip on our left wing. We counter that with right rudder. If you use ailerons in doing that, what happens is you can actually aggravate the stall, and we don't want to do that. So that was basically our power off stall. And then now what we want to do is get ourselves in a flying configuration, positive rate, so we're going to slowly pull out our flaps. And once again, positive rate and our last bit of flaps. And we're still full rich. And anytime you shove your power in on the plane, you want to make sure that that right rudder is really in, because the torque and everything from the engine is going to want to throw you to the left. So by keeping that right rudder in that, it does help quite a bit. So here we are in a takeoff configuration, and the power on stall is used to simulate a takeoff or departure stall. So we're actually doing our clearing turns again here. And we're going to clear to the left. Okay, we're starting our altitude at 3,500. We're going to slow to departure speed. Once again, we're in a takeoff configuration here. And we'll get it slowed down to the point of rotation. And we're going to go, that looks about right. And we're going to go full power and start pitching up. Staying coordinated, stay coordinated, stay coordinated. Giving the wings. And there we go. So that was our departure power on stall. Dangerous thing in doing a departure stall is it's real easy to cross control the airplane. So unless you're using a lot of right rudder on that departure stall, then you have a hard time staying coordinated. And if you're in a very uncoordinated state, doing a power on stall, you can spin the airplane. So those are our stalls. 252 Mike Tango, NorCal, go ahead, sorry. Yes, I certainly can. 252 Mike Tango. Okay, at or below 3,500. 252 Mike Tango. Okay, so that was our power on stall. And now what we're going to do is what's called an accelerated stall. Accelerated stall is used to simulate load factor on the wings. And what we're doing here is we're going to increase the load factor on the wings by pulling back on the yoke in a bank. So we're going to be in a 30-degree bank, pull back on the yoke, and our stall horn should go off, simulating an impending accelerated stall. So in doing that, we're at 3,000. Air traffic control wants us to stay here, 3,000, so we'll do that. And what we're going to do is, once again, we've used that turn as a clearing turn. So let's maybe one more clearing turn in this direction. And what we're trying to demonstrate in an accelerated stall is that a stall can happen even at a higher airspeed. So we were just showing, getting at low airspeed. With us, accelerated stall can happen much quicker. So we're going to get to VA, maneuvering speed. And okay, look good. And what we're going to do is, once again, just to walk through it, keep our power in, get our 30-degree bank, and pull back on the elevator. Okay, so everything looks clear. We've done our clearing turns, and we are at or below VA. And so we'll start our bank, 30-degree bank, and pull up. And I didn't get the stall horn. Let's do it again. Okay, once again, let's start this. We're at or below VA again. And let's see if we can get this. And there it was. We had our bank pulled back on the elevator, got a good lift, and our stall horn went off. Okay, so what we're going to do now is one of the harder maneuvers, and we'll do a pre-landing checklist here. So make sure our lights are on, everything's in the green, we're full rich, flaps are up, and fuel, our flow starting here with fuel, trim, and up, everything's in, looks good. So pre-landing checklist complete, and we are approaching. Byron traffic, Skyhawk 252, Mike Tango, approaching the airport. I'll be looking for you. I'm just coming in at a 45, but I'm a little far out, so you'll be able to pass me, I'm sure. 252, Mike Tango, Byron traffic. whenever we're in an airport environment here, you got to be real careful. There's no tower, so everybody is self-announcing as to where they are in relation to the runway. So you have to be listening to where everybody is. And so we're 1,500 feet, and the field level there is just a few feet above sea level. So we're getting down about 1,000 feet would be traffic pattern altitude. So we're a little high, so we're going to do a 360 out here to turn around and get down to pattern altitude so that we could do our power off 180. Okay, 252 Mike Tango, I do have you in sight, and I did a 360 out here to give you time to head downwind. 252 Mike Tango, Byron traffic. And Byron traffic 252 Mike Tango making a right 45 on downwind for runway 30. Traffic ahead of me inside. Byron traffic. So on this one, I'm not going to do my power off 180 because I've got some other traffic in the pattern, and he's going out pretty far. So what I'll do is instead, I'm going to do my soft field landing, which, once again, soft field landing, keep moving, protect the nose wheel, the two main things. So even if you need to have a little bit, carry a little bit of power, you can do that, and keeping that nose wheel off and taxiing off the runway with a little bit of momentum. Don't stop because you could get bogged down. It's why the name is a soft field. So we're downwind now for runway 30, and we'll just do our typical, almost looks like a normal landing. And Byron traffic, Cessna 252 Mike Tango, turning base for runway 30, traffic ahead of me in sight. Byron traffic. Okay, so we're at 1,000 feet, which is our pattern altitude. We took our downwind a little further because we had other traffic there, so we are in flap range, so I'm going to put in my 10 degrees of flaps. And we're a little high, but that's okay because we're further out, so we have longer to dissipate the altitude. We'll go 20 degrees flaps, and we're at 800 feet now. And we'll go full flaps, 30 degrees flaps. Byron traffic, 252 Mike Tango on final for runway 30. Okay, we're lined up on center line. We have a nice stabilized descent, 500 feet. And looking for our windsock. Wind's right down the runway, so really no crosswind there. And we got a little bit of power in. We'll leave a little bit of power. Want to just fly the plane down to the runway and leave that nose wheel high. Got a little power in there still. Got nose wheel up. That's good. Get a little power, keeping the momentum going. We're riding a wheelie down the runway. Riding a wheelie, riding a wheelie, riding a wheelie. And still riding our wheelie. And we'll get off here. At Alpha 2, we'll get off here. And slowly let that nose wheel come down, but still keeping the weight off with some aerodynamic elevator control. Still moving. We're not stopping. Don't stop. And we are clear of the runway. Okay. Now that we're clear of the runway, do our after landing checklist here. Flaps coming up, and we'll call to let them know. That actually, to be honest, that was my best soft field ever. I always had a real hard time with that. Probably helped that there was no wind, and I was able to kind of ride that wheelie once I touched down, protecting the nose wheel. Usually my soft field landings are always just kind of like a normal landing. So I'm happy with that. And so now what we'll do, we've done a soft field takeoff. What I want to do now is I guess it's going to be a short field takeoff. And doing a short field traffic, what we'll do is we'll taxi into position, use all the runway, make sure we get all of it, and we'll apply our brakes. And once we've applied the brakes, we will slowly advance our throttle all the way, get the maximum RPMs, and then we'll take off the brakes. And as we depart, we will climb out at VX, so the best angle of climb, so it's going to be a steeper climb until we reach 50 feet and 50 feet AGL. Then we'll push it over and we'll climb at VY, which is our best rate of climb. So we will do that. We have somebody on final here, so there's no rush. But that's a problem. And Byron traffic 252 Mike Tango, lined up and waiting on runway 30. See, traffic is cleared, so going to be departing back to Livermore. Okay, full power, and let the brakes go. Keep a little right rudder in there, and airspeed is left wind, and rotate. And there we go, we're at a steeper angle. We're at VX. We're 50 feet above our obstacle, and we're pushing it over, and we'll now climb at VY. That wasn't very pretty, but we'll work on that. Okay. And Byron traffic 252 Mike Tango just departed runway 30. Gonna turn right and climb above traffic pattern back over to Livermore. 252 Mike Tango, Byron traffic. And being real vigilant. Look, we'll try and make it an accuracy landing. So, okay, looking for traffic. 252 Mike Tango for 25 right. Okay, number 3 to land, 25 right. 252 Mike Tango. Okay, so once again, this is going to be a short field landing. So we're going to come in with the slowest possible airspeed, and once we're down, we're going to apply heavy braking, not skidding, but heavy braking, and we'll take our flaps out so that we transfer the weight from the wings to the wheels, and we'll get better braking action in doing that. So once again, kind of want a little bit lower approach than normal, and with that lower approach, we'll use our power to kind of get us to the runway. And then as soon as we cut the power, we can settle down a little bit faster than normal on a normal landing. So that's going to be our goal, and our goal will be able to land no longer than 200 feet past the top of the numbers. So that's going to be my goal. Okay, let's get our flaps in. We're a little high. And we're very stable now. We're 500-foot descent, and looking at the VASI, we're on glide slope. So our aiming point is going to be the numbers, and then as we flare, hopefully that won't carry us further than 200 feet. So that's going to be my goal here. So I'm seeing the numbers are staying in my field of view. I've got my 10 degrees. I'm going to go 20 degrees flaps and give a little forward pressure on the yoke just to keep us coming down, because sometimes that adding the flaps will make you balloon up. So we want to stay on our glide slope, stay with our aiming point, which is going to be the numbers. Uh, 252 Mike Tango, traffic in sight. And get our last of the flaps in. Speed looks good. And a little bit more power. Airspeed started dropping off a little bit there. And we'll pull in our power. And it wasn't great. And we didn't make our... Okay, 252 Mike Tango, I'm going to be departing at Delta. We'll contact ground.